can't lose. No, we can't lose.
Enjoy it while it lasts. Gambling gods, fickle bunch. Oh yeah, so easily
We
affected.
have a shooter and a good one coming out for a new point. Get your bets down, ladies and gentlemen. He's a rolling point is 9, place 9. 9 a winner. Got a hot hand. Place your bets, ladies and gentlemen.
They bet on absolutely anything. Don't make them.
So how does the book know?
Maybe they're doing. Maybe they are watching. I don't know.
You're tuned in to Gambling with Good JuJu.
Welcome in, everybody, to Gambling with Good JuJu. This is the podcast episode where we tell you who we are and why we're doing what we're doing today. My name is Peter, a.k.a. Breezy, a.k.a. CBB Junkie on Twitter. With me today, I have Kurt. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, this is Jolly. You can find me on Twitter at Jolly Saint Vic.
And over on the other side, I have Ryan. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
AKA at Real Juicy on Twitter. Good JuJu Juicy. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we're happy to be here. So what we want to do today is give you all a little bit of an idea of who we are and why we think you might be willing to listen to us moving forward. So let me start off with myself. As I mentioned, my name's Peter. I have been sports obsessed since the day I was born. My first gambling memory was trying to be a bookie in fourth grade with Kevin O'Brien, not knowing what a bookie did or how it worked. I went and copied all the lines out of the paper into a notebook that day. And then I went up to him and I said, tell me what you think, this versus this versus this versus this. And he would go through and he'd pick all the games as he saw them. And I'd go, oh, yeah, well, the only one I disagree with you on is this one. So that must be what our bet is. And so then we would bet based on that. And it was me and a person who I haven't interacted with since high school.
I think I remember trying to explain to you weren't doing it right.
That could be a possibility.
So one of the fun things about us is that we went to school together from kindergarten through high school. So we've known each other since we were approximately 5 years old. So along with that, you will expect and receive much of the feedback and pushback from them based on their knowledge of me over the course of the last 30 plus years. So that's exciting. So that speaks to me and what I'm doing here. There's a lot more we're going to get into, but I want to turn it over now to Kurt, if you wouldn't mind giving us a little background on yourself.
So there really isn't much to say about me other than what I bring is nothing like what my other two co-hosts bring. I am a high-risk gambler. High risk is an understatement. I'll play anywhere from 20 to 50 bets a day. And this goes back to when I first started gambling. My very first sports wager was when I was 16 years old. I put $400.
Oh, my God.
$400. I'm 16 years old. I got $400.
And that was 50 years ago.
Right. So imagine what that $400 is worth now. I was busting tables, right? And I put $400. Some cook wanted to take the Patriots over the Rams. The Rams were a 14-point favorite. He goes, I don't want any points. I'll take the Patriots straight up. So I'm like, wait a minute. The Rams are minus 14, and you're giving me the money line for even money? $400? I couldn't shake his hand fast enough. And of course, we all know what happened, right? The greatest show on turf got beat. Vinatieri kicks a field goal, and I got to cough up $400 of this guy.
At 16, your first bad beat.
Yeah, 16, my first bad beat. I got the Rams even money on a minus 14 line, and I lose.
That is some serious CLV, though.
That is some serious CLV. But to go along with that high risk, I have also lost multiple Super Bowl wagers of over $2,000.
Oh, my God.
Multiple. I've laid over $1,000 on the pass line and rolled a 7 on the come out. More than once. So I'm a very high-risk gambler. And what I bring to this team is an unfiltered voice. They're going to have to mute me, choo-choo me, as I swear a lot. I really don't give a shit about what anybody thinks. So along with what I bring from a gambling perspective and an unfiltered perspective, I'll be quite honest. I will tell you how I feel just about everything, including from a sports betting perspective, on what I think about wagering, what I think about risk, what I think about bankroll, and I'll also give my opinion, my hot takes on what's happening in the sports world as well.
Love it.
Yeah, well said. Didn't even touch on poker, though.
Yeah, I haven't played poker in a long time.
Yeah, that's good. Poker is boring. All right,
RJ, tell the audience.
back to
about
RJ.
yourself.
I'm RJ now.
You are RJ.
We just cut out that whole Ryan bit. I love gambling.
Okay.
I love gambling. And, everybody starts off with like, okay, yeah, I played poker with my grandparents for 65 cents when I was 10 or whatever. That's fine. I did that, of course. Learned how to, play poker. Then when I was 7 or 8, I started doing the NFL pick'ems with my dad, and it got a little complicated, and he wasn't willing to put in the work, so I would do it for him.
I remember those sports page, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, yeah. Then eventually, we graduated to the actual parlay cards. And I thought those were the coolest thing in the whole entire world until we hit one and the bookie totally shorted us.
Whoops.
That was the last time I ever did one of those. Okay. And then, talking about grade school, I love gambling. Me and Owen actually had a casino in his basement where we would play everything from little fake plastic roulette, poker, craps. We took sports bets. It was the silliest thing in the world. And then, we would do this for days on end. And at the end of it, like we'd have like $7 or $8, right? And we would ship that off to Reno to his uncle, and he would bet on a sports game for us. So I love gambling. Going through the whole bit, like, 21st birthday, we go to Vegas, and it's like, oh my God, I'm so addicted to this, and I'm so bad at this. But eventually, we kind of figured it out, right? Hilariously got backed off for like counting cards at the Paradise in college. Like, in a very ironic fashion at like 2 p.m. on a Tuesday.
Were you?
I mean, it was so funny. Like, I'm betting like $10 a hand, and I get up to like $30-$40, and the dealer turns around and she's like, this kid's card counting. And the pit boss comes over and he's like, yeah, let him play. And it was
shit.
But at that point, I'm like, okay, this is not working out. Like, yeah, I don't have a job and it's kind of fun, but that's enough of that. Like, I'm just trying to get like $25 to get some cheeseburgers. But I realized I probably didn't have the stamina to play that game. Yeah, and then like you said, we got totally hooked on the sports betting thing. Driving to Iowa, started off there, and then like me just pretending to bet on sports for a year while it was legalized. And now I could not imagine not betting on sports for a day.
One day.
One day. Like, you go on vacation to Florida and it's like, I better have some action down before I get there.
This is a fact.
This is definitely
I've done
a fact.
some family vacations, and it is not fun leaving a freedom state for a non-freedom state.
Yeah, it's stressful. Like, it's more stressful than gambling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and like you said, I think, the perspective we're trying to bring is like probably saving some people from some pitfalls.
Unless you take my advice.
Well, yeah, you're here for the entertainment factor. But
Don't listen to me.
You used to always razz me about making it super boring, right? And it was like,
Yes.
it was the discipline and all that bit of like trying to really dial in how to make this sustainable, right?
And then you did turn boring.
Well, that's all perspective. We thought I was boring when I had a unit size.
That's true.
That's true. Yeah. Gambling Twitter is neat. It's neat to get the fast info right. That's pretty cool. It also stinks to have to weed through all the bull crap, which I think might also be what we're going to try to do here, right? Help people
Yes.
not fall into those traps
Yep.
with like, super predatory tactics from sports books and or handicappers and or whatever.
Yep.
I think weeding through the nonsense of unreliable Twitter touts to find quality Twitter touts is a big emphasis of ours as a group,
Absolutely.
and something that hopefully we certainly share moving forward.
That's like, one of the hardest parts at times.
Well, I think that's something that a perspective that we can bring to everyone listening is, okay, you want to make money? Here's how you do it, right? We've done all the dirty work of playing everybody out there that we could possibly think of.
Yeah.
Here's the guys who have the success. Here's who we play.
Right. And not
We've
only
only
that,
scraped the surface.
Yeah.
so
Sure,
far.
sure.
and
But
not
we,
only that, it's like who to look, like what are the traits in somebody that you actually want to like put some stock into, right?
yeah,
It's like here these guys are snake oil salesmen. These guys like look for these type of things, right? Whether it's like, transparency, win-loss record, tracked results, blah blah blah, whatever, right?
Putting a face to a real name is a huge thing for me. The ones who are on Twitter communicating with their followers via video or whatever they're doing, but are transparent about who they are, is going to go really far. We've followed over the last couple of years multiple touts who we were like excited about early on, but we knew nothing about other than they had made us money in the short term. And long term, it never seems to pan out fruitfully
Yeah.
in those scenarios. Meanwhile, when we're tailing people who are actively engaged, sharing research, sharing insights they're uncovering, talking about why they do what they do and who they are, we have a lot more success tailing them. And I don't think that's a coincidence.
Yeah, and it's right. We have more success gambling. It's like a stronger sense of community and like being involved and like actually like I'm not like kidding myself. I'm building a relationship with these people.
sure.
But it is like you're kind of like in the club. Also, like the cool thing is it really can speed up the process and the learning curve, like with all the information coming in so quick. But again, like you got to weed through the bull crap. But also like really kind of probably for me was a gateway getting out of like the national media gambling coverage and into like the more authentic VSiN wager talk.
Sure. Get out of the ESPN.
Which, we talked about like kind of the joke about me fake betting for a year. It was totally like ESPN, like the helmets on the pregame and like how many picked which team and stuff. And like, that's the type of stuff I was using. And then I thought I was getting real sharp, like listening to Scott Van Pelt and his picks.
Right.
But it's like, even that's like, that's crazy. There's so many more better, sharper minds out there that are sharing information. And like, hopefully we can highlight some of that and give you a couple shortcuts along the way.
Yeah. And to follow up on that, even with someone like Scott Van Pelt and those sorts of organizations, they're not trying to speak to us or what we believe is probably our listener to this.
Bingo.
We're talking to the individuals who've already moved past that, who have looked to reach out and explore the gambling Twitter space for the content that they need to either make their own picks or tail others' picks. And so as a result of all that, you skip a couple steps ahead in terms of your overall development by just kind of paying attention to some folks who've already done it. And the reality of the situation is, with the explosion of sports gambling outside of the state of Nevada, this whole thing is exploding right now. And we get into this community that is massive. I mean, we see people with over 100,000 followers easily who are active in this space. And then you see all the fighting that happens in there
Yes.
and the fun. It's not a positive or a negative, but you see everything that's going on in there. And it turns out it's a really interesting ecosystem, a really interesting community. And to be able to sit down and share our perspective on that and hopefully create value for the listener, both from an entertainment perspective and a knowledge building perspective, is valuable for us and for our listeners. And that's really the whole goal of this. And I think at the end of the day, we all want the same thing. I know that there's been arguments about, oh, is this a community? No, this isn't a community. Someone had that quote that got retweeted a bunch of times about, we're not a community. Every time someone wins, someone else loses. That may be true. I don't know, but we're all up against the books. And
Exactly.
I don't
Exactly.
care if someone else wins or loses.
Sure.
I want us all having fun. And I want to see the community be the fun place that I have found it to be. And I want to hopefully share my perspective on that so that others may enjoy it in the same way I do. Does that sound fair?
Yeah, that
Totally.
sounds fair. I want every single person on gambling Twitter to win every single wager they make, and I hope the books feel it all.
Yeah.
That's whose side I'm on.
I'm on gambling Twitter side.
Of course.
Let's let all the people who are still following ESPN predictions and doing their casual thing on the weekends, not really caring about any of it. let them give the money to the books.
Yeah, exactly.
The people who are spending the time, investing their resources, and treating it like a real fun hobby. Yeah, we want to talk to you because we're pretty sure you want to hear from us. And if you're a content creator in this space, we got stuff for you as well. We all bring something that's a little bit unique to the table that hopefully others will draw value out of as well. And if you are yourself a content creator, well, we'd love to talk to you. We'd love to interact with you. And we are, by and large, a very positive brand, hopefully trying to share that positivity. And even Kurt, you are a positive person overall. You're just a very extreme personality in general.
Yeah, absolutely. When I lose, I get pissed. But I want to win. And when we're winning and everybody's winning, I'm a 10.
Yeah.
Party time.
Yeah.
It's party time.
Yeah. And so one of the things we always say to each other, you know, we've got our little mottos and our things that make us who we are, and we believe we have more fun. And we ask the question, who has more fun? And we generally respond, we do.
We do.
We do. So that's not a knock on anyone else's ability to have fun. If you think you have more fun than us, guess what? You are perfect for this show. So you should be tuning in.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, we love to talk to other people. I think a lot of why we're doing this is because, you know, we're so deep, and like somebody's like, oh, I placed a couple bets, like, you want to talk about it? And it's like, yeah, let's talk about it. And then it's just like, oh my God, you have no idea what you're doing. And like, it's like, okay, well, can I walk you through this? And then they just look at you like, what are you, like, addicted to gambling? Like, you psycho? And so like, we have this little safe space now for the three of us. And it's like, yeah, let's share that with other people to, you know, kind of get that community piece kind of dialed in there.
Yeah. And I think we both talked, all three of us talked throughout the pandemic about the importance of connection and real face-to-face interaction. So for anyone listening, we are in the same room as one another. We're hoping to go on video soon here for people to be able to see our faces and react to us. And at the end of the day, we really believe that the personal touch points of face-to-face communication is really important in life and not something everyone appreciates as much. So we do a lot of that.
Very well put. I agree with all of that.
Having said that, I know everyone's lives are different, right? But that is the perspective from which I come when I think about my gambling experience. And so you guys hear me talk about this all the time. I am what I have self-dubbed it. I don't know if anyone else does this. I'm a plus EV entertainment bettor, meaning I won't get caught up in a loss if I have a good sweat. I will wake up the next day and think to myself, well, that was a fun night. I find value in the action of taking part in the exercise as much as I do the net result that comes out of it. And that doesn't mean that I'm not a profitable sports bettor, as we will get to here shortly. We are profitable sports bettors. But at the end of the day, for me, that's a bonus on top of the entertainment I get in my life and out of the hobby that I get that is sports gambling.
Totally agree with everything you just said. And it's a unique perspective, which, you know, is what's going to make this show great. But I think the fact that all three of us are profitable, not just slightly profitable, but fairly profitable to highly profitable, and we each have our own way of doing it, right? So neither of us do the same thing. We all go about it a different way, but we all have the same amount of success, right? And so that's three different perspectives on how to gamble, how we do things, and how we profit from it.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. And right, I was joking about betting on weird sports played in different countries, but it's those core competencies, right? And like, we've kind of nailed those down: the discipline and the bankroll management and the tracking your bets. Like, you know, that's all the most important piece, more so than watching a game or knowing a sport or whatever.
Yeah, it's a great point.
But it is kind of amazing. Like, we both do this so differently. Like, I know, Pete, you joke like, oh, we do it exactly the same. Like, obviously we don't.
Yeah.
It's Kurt that always says we're doing this
Oh,
exactly
fair.
the
Yeah,
same.
fair.
It's not me.
Fair.
I'm always making fun of him when he says that.
Fair. And we do it so differently. But yet, yeah, somehow we've all managed to figure it out in our own way. That's kind of magical.
Kurt will have anywhere from 3 to 6 times as many bets as us in one day, and then look at the two of us and go, Wait, you didn't have that?
So this is a running inside joke where I will have some kind of wager and it'll hit and I'll say, hey, like tonight, hey, we hit Tyler Hero's assist prop over. And RJ looks at me and goes, yeah, I'm happy for you, bud. And in my head, I'm thinking that we all played the same thing. We obviously don't.
Didn't.
We don't.
Yeah, we don't bet on everything you bet on, Kurt.
It would be impossible for us to all play the same thing as Kurt.
I would be so stressed out.
Yeah, you would be.
But good point. Like, also, when we're talking about what we're trying to get out of this show, I'm trying to certainly amplify to as many people as will listen our inside jokes and our ridiculous sense of humor.
Yeah.
The league's banter meets Dude Perfect's casual unscripted reality meets Cousin Sal's casual gambling humor without being a pick service with gambling Twitter. Is that what you mean?
Perhaps.
I just read the brand positioning to him. It's that simple.
It's that simple. Shout out Cousin Sal.
Yeah. We think we're going to be able to be a gateway, essentially, whether that is bankroll management, understanding EV, tracking results, line shopping, everything then into the casual as well. So whether that's who we're tailing, what we're excited about coming up, what our strategies are to make gambling more fun for us are also things we want to come with. So essentially we do want to be educational, but entertainment is the number one goal. Education plus entertainment will equal you guys hopefully caring about us.
Please, sir, watch our show.
You guys. Just to wrap up before we get out of here on all this, as Kurt had mentioned, we've been pretty successful at the end of the day. And so we've all got our number, but I think we all want to share maybe a little bit about our 2022 bona fides. I'll start. I finished up 110 units in 2022. Kurt, how was your 2022?
Crushed it. Plus 196 units.
Woo, baby.
Wow.
Plus 196. Shout out. Plus 70 units on baseball myself. So I was up 70 units on baseball. Did well in promos. But yeah, plus 196. And 2023 started off a little rocky, but 2023 to start, I'm up 85 units.
Jesus. Little rocky.
Well, it didn't start out that way.
Good grief, dude.
The January was a little rough.
So how many units do you bet in a day?
That's a great question.
I mean, is it like 20?
Yeah, close.
20 units a day?
Yeah, 20 units a day.
Times 30 days in a month?
Yeah.
It's freaking me out just thinking about it.
Is it? I mean, I've gotten, so when I first started doing it, right, super stressful.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, God, I can't believe I'm betting.
Bad
I have
days,
right?
Yeah.
And you have I've had bad days. It's like you lose 20 units in a day. It's not fun.
Not fun.
But a couple days ago, I won, 45 units in a day. So.
Yeah.
To build off Kurt real quick, I'm up 53 units.
Up 53.
This
so,
year?
2023.
Yeah.
Grief.
So I'm up 85. Pete's up 53.
RJ, how you doing?
Can we talk about 2022 again?
Do it.
Do it.
Do it. How was your 2022?
How was your 2022?
170.
Nice. 170.
Nice. So 110, I was trailing. I had a rough start to baseball. That's what hurt me.
Yeah, baseball hurt me too.
Yeah, we covered that. Baseball starts June 1st.
That's how we need to think. So you
learn from your mistakes, track your bets, reevaluate everything. We actually did this over text message last year, right?
Yeah,
I cleaned up my whole tracking sheet and I said, ask me anything. And somebody goes, how do I make money betting on baseball? And I go, well, first of all, you don't start till June 1st.
That was a great conversation we actually had.
Yeah.
I turned around my baseball season after that conversation.
That's awesome.
And you were doing really well. And I was the one who struggled April, May. I had a really bad April, May. And it hit June. And I go, guys, I've had to reduce my bet size. So I was being responsible. I reduced my bet size. Yeah. I reduced my volume. I got back to coupon clipping primarily. And then I started tailing the guys you were telling me to tail. And it all turned around.
Yeah. Yeah, 23 has not been great, so let's just not.
But can we acknowledge that
I didn't lose any money yet.
between the three of us, what is that, 460 units? Between the three of us, 110,
Pete,
190?
maybe we should quit our jobs.
It's not our career.
I agree with that.
But having said that, Ryan, you have been the most successful long term out of all of us. I don't know why you're sitting here bumming over the first 3 months of one particular year. Obviously,
Up to your guys' stacks. Yeah, it stinks.
but my total from last year stinks relative to your guys' stacks.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, you and I, if we look at 2022 and 2023 combined, you and I are right about even because you made a lot more units than I did in 2022. And now I've made more than you and start off 2023. Whatever. Doesn't matter. We're both profitable.
Yeah.
Your
That's all that
2023, is it down or up?
It's not down.
All right. So before we wrap up, anything else we want to talk about? Any goals, Ryan?
Yeah, goals for the show and
Yeah.
the brand specifically, though. I want to make really cool T-shirts and koozies.
Koozies.
Oh, I'd love a koozie.
We are getting a cool flat bill hat on the site. I don't care what it costs. We have to charge you, the listener, $90 because it costs us $50 to get it made. Well, sorry, but I do have a flat bill hat on the list of goals for the brand. I also have goals. I had put out there on Twitter that I emailed the Rivermen, the Peoria Rivermen, a great minor league sports franchise, to see about getting our brand logo put on their helmets. $5,000 for the entire season.
I thought it was going to be more than that.
I thought it was going to be more than that too.
I thought it was going to be 15 grand.
I'm not saying I'm close to investing $5,000 to get the Good JuJu logo put on a helmet, but if you guys buy enough T-shirts, we might all be Riverman fans as a result of this.
God, wouldn't that be awesome? I wonder if we can go to the game and be like, hey, yeah, I want to be down there in the first row. Hey, I want to hang out in the thing. And they're going to be like, who the hell are you? I'm like, oh, well, my company's on the side of the helmet.
Yeah, that's probably not worth $5,000 to them, having you do that for an entire season to them.
Yeah, like, can I get a key?
Yeah.
Oh, what?
Key to the door so I can come in whenever I want.
Yeah. I want to skate around. Shoot some pucks.
Can I play goalie?
That's my whole goal. Get big enough that we can do ridiculous things with the pennies that come in off of T-shirt sales. Kurt, you got any goals?
Win the lotto.
Do you play
That
the
isn't-
lottery?
Win the lotto. Put Good JuJu on every NBA court in the league. You guys got me brainstorming now.
You just stole my idea and made it something completely unrelated to the podcast. Your goal
And
for
unrealistic.
your goal for the podcast is you win the lottery? What does that have to do with the podcast? My goal in life is also that you win the lottery because I hope if you won the lottery, you'd bring us along with you.
Yeah, of
Oh
course.
my goodness.
If any of us wins the lottery and we're not all rich as a result, I hate you.
Well, I mean,
Your
we'll
goal
see,
for the podcast is to win the lottery.
we'll see how many T-shirts we sell after we sponsor every NBA hardwood. Then we'll talk about your salary, Pete.
Exactly.